What's an 18 plus experience you're not very proud of?
My ex-fiance. When we first started dating and interacting, she'd call me daddy. That was a first for me, but I went with it, you know? New experience, what's the harm? Well, I drive 14 hours to meet this man, and let's say his name is Jeff. Jeff is my intended's dad. Jeff and I got along great, and one afternoon during our stay, I asked Jeff if I could propose to his daughter. He said yes. So that night we cooked up some porterhouse steaks, bought about as much beer and whiskey thinking there'd be no tomorrow. At one point, Jeff goes, "Who wants another shot?" My ex goes, "Oh please, daddy." I make a Jim Halpert face of like, what the f***? Needless to say, on the 14-hour ride back home, I told her she can't say that in bed anymore. Our engagement didn't last, but we're kicking ass and co-parenting a young woman. Well, she's now married to a dude who happens to be named Jeff, so that's really weird. Whoa, what the hell? The ending got me so bad. Was hot and heavy with a lass I met on Tinder. She was on top, just going to town. As she's really hitting her stride, her daughter woke up and just burst into the room. There I am, deep into this woman, as she just pauses long enough to yell at her daughter to get out and proceeds to continue as though nothing happened. After, she asked me to stay and watch a Disney movie with her and her daughter. I was young, poor, my dealer was into me. I wasn't particularly into her, but she was nice enough, and one night she offered me a 50 bag for a hookup, and I had enough beers in me to think, sure, why not, eh? I couldn't keep it up when the shame kicked in, but I'm a gentleman, so I made sure she got off other ways. She wasn't overly impressed by the lack of, upstanding on my part, and accused me of being gay. I woke up in the morning, sober and shamefaced. I'm trying to get my boots on and skedaddle, and then her young daughter walks into the bedroom proudly toting the Marmite on toast she'd made me badly. It was way too much Marmite, not going to lie. So I ate it while feigning enjoyment while this 6-year-old girl watched me. I suffer through, and as I'm finally about to leave, her daughter intercepts me at the door and gives me a piece of paper and says, "Mom said you're taking us to the beach today. I made a drawing of it." The drawing showed all three of us holding hands with big love hearts everywhere. So I lied to a sweet 6-year-old girl about having a really bad headache and pretty much ran home. Oh, and the was terrible quality bush. Anyway, that's how I learned that I should be far more discerning about single mums, and also why I had to find a new dealer. In high school, I was very active with my first girlfriend, but could never get any privacy. I had an Eddie Bauer edition Aerostar, where the backseat folded into a bed, which was our usual vehicle for fooling around. When it broke down, I got a Saturn SL2. We went to our usual spots: church on Tuesday, Walmart loading bays, State Park. But there was no making it happen in the seats. So I took the back seat off, and we put our legs in the trunk and our top halves sticking out. So we're going at it, and I'm getting close, and I pull up fast to pull out. Guys, you know the old pistol draw. And I bang my elbow on the metal trim of the trunk so hard. What resulted was a hormone and brain chemical cocktail that was basically a hurricane. If it was a pizza, it would have been the works. The agony of the worst funny bone pain I've ever had. The panic of not pulling out all the way. The first ecstasy of not pulling out. The throaty, half-silent scream that wouldn't come out. And the death grunt of getting impaled by a spear dribbling out of my drooling mouth. And the horrified face of my girlfriend. I just rolled back and forth next to her in the fetal position before I could tell her what happened. There was no plan B over the counter back then. We just had to wait and hope. She was afraid to tell her mom that she was being active to get on the pill. After that scare, we stopped risking it, so it was a blessing in disguise. But I can vividly remember that mix of sensations that was more intense than any drug, my spinal tap or my broken collarbone. My wife and I also have a group chat with my mother-in-law, just the three of us. I accidentally sent a message to the group chat with my mother-in-law and wife that basically was describing what I planned on doing that night and how I was going to drain her body of every bit of fluids she had. What can you do? I tend to find life too absurd in general anyhow, so I just called my mother-in-law, owned it, and explained what happened and apologized. She and my wife both thought it was hilarious. Had a threesome, didn't enjoy it, and actually regret it. Met this cute girl at a bar. She was really into me, but she had a friend with her who was kind of obnoxious and protective. We were all pretty drunk, and normally I avoid going home with people in that situation, because you never know who's going to regret it the next day. After hanging out for a bit, I gave her my number and said if she still felt the same way tomorrow, she should hit me up. Well, on my Uber ride home, she texted me asking me to come over. In a moment of weakness, I told the driver to turn around and went to her place. When I got there, her friend was still around. We hung out for a bit longer, drank some more, and I figured the friend would eventually leave. Instead, the girl and I started making out, and then the friend just kind of joined in. It felt like both of us were too drunk and awkward to say anything or shut it down, so it just turned into a threesome. The part that sucks is I actually liked her. We tried dating afterward, but there was always an elephant in the room. She was cute, funny, and we had things in common. But I think that whole situation kind of stunted our ability to make a real connection. Oh, and the friend? On our second or third date, she told me that was the first time they hung out, and the chick had been kind of a creeper because she was really some weird associate who wanted her to herself, and so made it into a threesome so she could at least share her. Weird.
Literally not safe for work. I get called out to the field a lot. It was the middle of the night, just had to go reset something, so I go in a shirt, shorts, and flip-flops. I was looking at a panel waiting for a reading, and while I was looking down, I noticed I wasn't wearing shorts. Just out there in my boxers. Yep.